charged in nature a little bit, right? So hey everyone that's coming in. So we're just kind of feeling that way they get to see how they each respond to stuff. Then when they have their conversation or whatever you want to title it, Uppity is going to like be doing it over there, and it's going to be a little more formal and maybe controlled to where one responds, like back and forth. Okay. I just thought that this was cool because I know each their viewpoint politically, and I thought, ooh, this will be good. That's how we ended up here. Okay, so here's one of the questions that I kind of already told you guys about these questions when in the previous live. That is to MU and to HB. And when I say HB, Houston bred. Okay, so what role should community activism play in shaping policies? Who should go first?
Go ahead, Amy. No, go ahead.
What role should communities play? I feel that we all have a certain role to play, and if it's nothing else, at least go out and vote. But don't vote ignorantly, okay? Be aware of what you're voting for. So I think if nothing else, at no other level, we all have a responsibility to do that.
That was a good answer, MU, but she was saying community activist. I think you probably hear the question. She want to know community activist.
The community activist obviously has a big role to play because they're the voices for the people. So I do kind of consider myself an activist as well. So I feel that I have a big role to bring knowledge to the people and to inform you guys of what is going on. So I do feel that I have a big role. Was that good, Uppity? Oh, yeah.
It was great, and then I would like for HB to answer. Then I have a follow-up
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
Thank you, Uppy. I appreciate your patience and facilitation. And MU, thank you for taking the first stab at that question.
You're
I
welcome.
didn't know that you identify as an activist. What are some of the issues that you represent? Like when you talk about giving knowledge, like what why are you looking? What kind of knowledge are you giving the people? I just was curious.
Well, I never really considered myself an activist before until I came out here trying to fight hard for, trying to fight hard for some of Republican values. I felt like a lot of things was getting misconstrued. So if nothing else, I do open up my platform for those kind of conversations and questions. So I wouldn't really say, oh, I'm this political activist. I wouldn't say that, but I definitely use my platform to bring awareness to what people talk about and some of the fear mongering that goes on with the Republican Party and just some of
Mm,
the lies that's told about the political right. So I do
okay.
feel a responsibility to do so.
Yeah. That's great to hear because what I just heard you say is that you like to try to balance things and offer a different perspective. And so back to YTC's question when she asked the role that community activists should play, I think that's the role they play. They try to balance things, right? To your point, MU, give other people's perspectives. And I think it's really unfortunate that a lot of protesters and activists are weaponized and demonized because now we're seeing them get slain, you know? So sometimes people think they just have opinions until it, culminates into what we're seeing today. So
Right.
no fault of any particular party, but you know, certain people are
Right.
So
getting slain and other
yeah, I
people,
have
you
two
know.
follow-up questions for you, both of you ladies, based on both of your points. So MU, so now that you did clarify the question, my thing would be, what do you do directly in your community that you do that feel is beneficial in raising awareness, whether it's your online, because you should start at the home, right? So whether it be your home base in your actual community, in your online community. So how do you feel like you are spreading awareness? And then for HB, I have a question based on your response. So, are you saying, do you feel like people should not be martyrs, or they should? So, do you feel like what is like? I was kind of confused on what you
That's a long
said.
ass
That's why I said,
question. That is a
I'll mute.
long question. Okay,
Okay.
that was a long question. I
Amy,
feel.
do you want to go? You want to go first?
Oh no, I went first last time. I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Okay. Uppity, I'm sorry to have confused you. So I'm not saying that people should not represent their community's interests. I'm saying that oftentimes when people are not directly impacted by whatever like an activist is pushing for, they act like they're an inconvenience or not doing it the right way. Think about Colin Kaepernick, right? He was simply kneeling down and they said that wasn't the right way. But every time you represent dissent, you're never protesting in the right way. That's what I was saying. But to your question about should people be martyrs? No, I don't think people should die for rights. If something is a right, it should be inherent. So I think what we're seeing is a deterioration of society because of like the polarizing of politics. But no, I don't think people should die for their rights. MU, what do you think?
I think that people don't set out to be martyrs. They end up martyrs because they die for their political beliefs, and it makes them a martyr. So there it is there. As far as anything else, I go out there, I go to the protests, I go to, I won't say I march because I don't march, but I do go to the protests. I've been to town hall meetings. I've done other things to be a part of it, regardless if it's a Republican rally or a Democrat rally. I show up, and I show up boots on the ground to film anytime there's something that's happening. I just feel, again, regardless of what role you play, we all have a role. Even if your role is staying silent and doing nothing, you play a role because you stay silent and you chose not to take a part in things. So we all have a role to play. But as far as the martyrism and things like that, we know what happened to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk didn't ask to be a martyr. Charlie Kirk became a martyr. Just like any other martyr. Martin Luther King didn't ask to be a martyr. He spoke his beliefs, and people didn't like it, and they lost their life over it.
And thank you, ladies, for clarifying both things. And that's a great segue, MU. And by what I meant from martyrs, because like it's when and it ties into what I asked you. So basically, when you want to be like a community activist and you want to incite people, sometimes you want to incite people's minds and stuff like that. But if you're pushing an agenda, that's when I feel like the martyr situation comes. Okay.
Lovely love. Can you can come back later, boo? Okay, or do you guys mind? It's gonna like interrupt with what, unless you're going to add to the political stuff. It's really right now political stuff between MU and HB. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'm good with Lovely.
You're good. Okay. Since this is an informal, but like during the real stuff, nobody's gonna be able to hit the link. Okay, Lovely.
No, for real. I'll come back. It's not for me. You're right.
It's political. Okay. Did you hear their questions? Unless you want to like chime in,
No, I really,
chime in, but you can come back.
yeah, I really don't because you know what? We all are blessed in our own way, and we can't take control of no one. You know, like the United States could take over control of all of us, and I just leave it right there. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So you wanted to add to the okay, Lovely.
Yeah, yeah, because
Okay,
you
so
know
you
what?
do understand that it's political, like, well, kind of like, yeah, politically charged, kind of live.
Yeah, because you know what? When it comes to the United States, when it comes to United States, the president, the Senate, and all of that, we can bigger about it all we want to, and at the same time, they're going to be the one that do the judgment. So why would I sit up here and argue with somebody that don't understand what's going on with the government and all that? I really don't care because
But
they
no,
going to do
with that being said, why did you click the link?
because I wanted to.
Right, to distract. I got you.
No, I did not distract. Only thing I came up, I was listening, and I didn't understand why her views. I mean, her platform was really low. I was like, what the crap? But that's why I clicked that.
What do you mean it was low?
Huh?
What do you mean it was low? Her platform was low.
Her views was low, and I was like,
Yeah,
YouTube
I knew
camera.
what she was doing type of shit. Because Lady Love, the same reason why yours is
Why you
everybody
keep
that talks
calling me
about
Lady Love? I'm
but
not Lady
I did
Love.
not say that.
Stop
She
it.
just wants to argue. Lady Love, this
No,
is
I
not what
do
we're
not.
doing.
No. My name is no. Hold up. My name is Lovely Love. Quit calling me Lady
I don't know
Love.
why that's what I said. I
I
said
don't know
Lovely
why
Love. You keep hearing that.
girl.
But
I
see,
don't
she
have no
just came
problem
here to
with
argue.
that.
and that's not what we wanted to not happen.
No, I
And
did
then
not
you,
come up here to argue. What I
but you
came up here
started.
to
That's what
Answer
you
with
got up
a
here.
political answer.
You argue about no, hold on, you to camera because she's not about to do this. You argued about the whole title and the whole premise of this conversation, but you're not up here to argue. It didn't make any sense. If you don't think it makes sense to argue about what we wasn't even arguing about, why would you click the link to argue about it? That doesn't make sense. And then I clearly said your name right, and now you wanted to deflect
No,
from
you
that
did
and
not.
work it
And
out.
I did not come up to argue.
Okay,
Uppity.
did you have an opinion as far as like what they were talking about? Otherwise, because they have
That's
a
it.
bunch of things to answer.
I said what I said when I came up. I don't
Okay.
give a crap how people think. United States and the president gonna do what they want to do anyway. So why are y'all debating on that? I don't get that part, uppity. And you calling me
Because we
lady
can.
love.
The same reason you click the link because we can.
Exactly, but my name is not Lady Love. My name is Lovely
Okay.
Love.
Okay. She got it.
You see
But
what I'm
okay.
talking
So,
about? She gonna argue
okay.
anyway.
So it's not a debate right now. We're just kind of like feeling their viewpoint on how they feel about what's happening in the environment that we're in. It's not necessarily a debate. It's informal. Okay. So they're not debating right now. We just want to see their opinion. That way we can gauge like how they feel about the different question. That was only the first question. Okay.
Okay.
So are y'all ready to go to the next
Now I'm
one?
gonna sit here. Now I'm gonna sit here. Now I'm
Okay.
going to
Okay.
sit
Good.
here.
Good for
Okay.
you.
So
Good for you.
let the two people involved, let them like this is supposed to be informal. Let us hear from
Right. And
them.
Uppity is the moderator, so let's get us back on track. So anyway,
Okay.
I damn near lost my train of thought. But anyway, like I said, back to the conversation. Thank you, ladies, for clarifying. So about this martyr situation, do you feel like people are being attacked for their opinions or pushing an agenda? What do you think feels you make you a martyr? And I would like from you ladies about like your differences and how that going on with what's going on right now.
Did you
Go
vote?
first. Who went first the last time? It was MU.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we'll alternate like that so you guys don't have to ask. Okay, if that's okay with HB.
That's fine.
Okay, cool. Again, no one wants to be a martyr. I mean, we're not like some who are those people that die for a cause, the kamikaze people? You know what I'm talking about. We're not that.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying because you brought up Charlie Kirk. So there, when you said that people state their opinion, I think that do you understand there's a difference between people like Charlie Kirk who push their agenda versus just average citizens that state their opinion online that may show up at protests or make a YouTube page or any type of social media page and get punched, not sitting and making a career out of like pushing a certain agenda. That's what I mean by that, just to break it down. And I'm
okay. Thank you.
But uppity, did you vote?
Wait a minute, lovely.
Wait, lovely. They haven't answered. We want them
I'm
to
sorry.
answer here.
Wait, did you vote? Uppity? That's a good question.
Oh Lord, MU,
No, I want to.
Yeah, did she vote? She got a bunch of mouth, but did you vote?
we're going to the subject. This is what she came up here for, not paying attention to it. Go ahead, Emmy, answer now that you understand what I meant by my question. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Did you vote in New York, uppity?
So to answer the question, it kind of got lost in the sauce, but so people start off with an idea, right? And I'm talking about Charlie Kirk. Anyone starts off with an idea, right? And then eventually you'll start expressing your views. Now we have social media to where you're expressing yourself to the world, and I think that we forget that. We jump on these platforms to do our whatever. We're talking to a lot of people. We never know who's listening. Charlie Kirk started out talking about. By the way, Charlie Kirk started out talking about something, and he supports the political right and very conservative views, right? And people in this climate, in this day and age, didn't like it. So yes, he was attacked for his views. Yes, he was saying things that would stir people up, like a man can't be a man. You're either a man. I mean, a man can't be a woman. You're either a man or a woman. Even if you wear a dress, you're a man wearing a dress. You're not a woman. even if you feel like a woman. So he said some of those things that triggered a lot of people, and we know that, and so he lost his life. But I could say that for anyone. Martin Luther King, you want to go back to anyone that's lost their life for a cause. Martin Luther King said things, and white people wasn't liking it. So you have an idea that goes against the norm of anyone. Somebody gets upset, and you lose your life for it. So yes, it's personal. Yes, it's a personal attack. Yes, you get attacked for your views. And then if you get attacked for speaking up for a cause, that makes you a martyr. Whether it's religious murder or political murder, you are a martyr. You are attacked for your ideas and your points of views. I don't feel that I may not like what you say, but I have to support your right to say it.
Okay. Who's the next? Oh, pretty lovely.
Can I respond to a couple of
Yeah.
things that you said?
Yes, go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Deputy. Emmy, thank you for that. I do think that equating Charlie Kirk and Martin Luther King Jr. is a false equivalency. This is a matter of perspective, right? As a woman, would you agree that men are the dominant gender in this country? Would you agree to that, or would you disagree? Men are mostly in positions of power. Men make more money. Would you agree with that or no?
I could agree with the fact that men make, as a whole, they can make more money than women.
Okay. So, like, would you say they're overall like a dominant gender, or would you say no?
Why the long silence, MU? Oh my gosh, MU, hell no.
Why can't you just let her answer? Let her.
Okay,
answer.
MU.
I do believe that men are natural leaders.
Let it be between them two. Go ahead.
MU, I'm MU, I'm asking you for a reason. So would you say men are a dominant gender or no?
In the United States, women have just as much. Women have.
I'm sorry. Would you say that men are a dominant gender in America or no? When you look at distribution of household chores, right? When you look at pay gaps, when you look at who's able to walk home safely at night, who would you say is the dominant gender in America?
I believe that men would be dominant because God made them that way. God made man.
So would you say that men are the dominant gender in America?
No. I'm saying that men are natural leaders. They're leaders in a household. They're leaders in, they're leaders. I will say leaders. I'm not going to say dominant, not dominant. I'm going to say that men are natural leaders. Yes.
So you don't. Okay. So you're not going to answer the question directly. If you're not, it's okay. I don't.
I answered the question. Now you want to use the word dominant, but when you're saying dominant, I mean, does that mean that women?
Okay. So you're using the euphemism that men are natural leaders, so therefore God has placed them like in a certain position. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't say, because now you want to bring religion into it. I'm not
okay.
saying
Not God, the universe.
What do you mean by natural leaders? Because then we could go into single motherhood. But no, MU, you have to. What she's asking you for is to like back up your talking points. You started out that men are dominant, and then you followed up with natural leaders, and they're asking you for case in points, like, because you also talked and said that like women have the same rights. So she's basically trying to gather where you're coming from with that, and she's bringing up like situations like in the home and in the workplace.
Thank you for the recap, Uppity. I didn't need it though. I got it.
Oh my God. Okay. All right.
Because I don't want you to say I'm doing word salad. Are men dominant? Yes, they are. There's no way to look around that.
Okay. Yeah, and MU, I just asked questions. Like, again, this is why I didn't want to jump into a debate. I mean, that's still on, we'll see, right? Because to your point, we have to gauge each other. And I encourage you to ask me questions too, okay?
I don't know if I like the word gauge that much, but right now.
Oh.
You thought I was a handful. There you go.
So MU, the reason I asked, right? And again, I'm not here to debate you. I'm here to understand you. But the reason I said that comparing MLK to Charlie Kirk is a false equivalency is that MLK was on the side of the oppressed. Black people were the ones that had their kids reading from tattered books, couldn't drink clean water, couldn't have access to the highest quality facilities. And MLK spoke on behalf of equalizing opportunities and access to resources. Charlie Kirk, right? He had opinions, to your point. He had an agenda and all that. but he was on the side of the billionaires, of the people of the dominant gender, of the dominant race. That's not the same. Using your bully pulpit to talk down on people and use culture as a distraction versus speaking on beside of the oppressed is very different. And in closing, look at your face. And in closing, it's a distraction, right? All this like culture stuff is a distraction from the fact that we have people that have to work check after check. Meanwhile, we have people that fly their private jets across cities, polluting the air, right? And just wasting money that could actually go to the lowest paid people working in their companies so they don't have to worry about providing for their kids. So I don't think MLK and Charlie Kirk are at all the same. But again, it's a matter of opinion because you might not agree that men are even dominant in this nation.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, I didn't say that they were the same.
You're welcome.
I said that both are martyrs. Would you not agree that they're both martyrs?
I would not put them on the same plane at all. Do you think David Duke is a martyr?
Okay,
if somebody poo-poos David Duke, are you going to call him a martyr?
No, because MU, because the MU as a moderator, I have to tell you the truth. When you say somebody's a martyr, Martin Luther King did not get taken out by his own people.
Neither did Charlie Kirk didn't get taken out.
Yes, he did. Yes, it was let me hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. MU. Let me tell you this.
Moderator, you are now in the middle of their.
Why are you getting so sassy?
Because we need to do.
I'm just trying to explain the difference to you. You asked me a question, I'm answering it.
No, I asked you.
The same thing could be said about if this is a conversation about Malcolm X. Maybe you could say that he was taken out by his own people, but Martin Luther King wasn't. But the type of people. Okay, maybe you don't want to hear it. Okay, I was just trying to explain the difference to you.
Was number one, Charlie Kirk did not. His life was not taken by his own people. That was a lie. They tried to say it was MAGA Republicans. Kind of find out this guy was not a Republican. He was very liberal, whatever in his beliefs. Okay. And I did not say that Charlie Kirk and Martin Luther King were the same. I didn't say that. But what I said was Martin Luther King died for his beliefs. And yes, I know he was oppressed and all that. I never said that he wasn't. And I also said that Charlie Kirk died for his beliefs. But did I say they're on the same level? No, I made that basic fact. Both are true.
So MU, I hear you. I hear you, right? So I'm not trying to rile you up. I'm really not. So I hope that that's not how you're receiving me. But to me, the way I hear that, I heard what you're saying. The way I hear that is acting like a tomato and a stop sign have the same function because they're both red.
But I never said that. I made a basic statement.
But you brought it up to align MLK's legacy.
That is not true. I was not trying to align anything. You're taking it that way. I was not trying to align anything. What I was saying was both because the question was about being a martyr. Mm-hmm. And my point was that nobody walks into the game and saying that I'm going to die for my beliefs. You know it could happen. Now, what happened with Martin Luther King, there is no way in hell I would ever compare that to Charlie Kirk. My point was strictly on you speak your beliefs, you don't expect to die for them.
I do. I expect to die for my beliefs.
Okay, well, that's you. But a lot of people do not walk into a space and say, you know what, even if, like even some of my beliefs, some people, if you see my emails, you see the hate messages I get. Does that mean that I want to die? No, but I still believe in what I'm saying. I'm going to speak it, but I'm not dumb enough to say, oh, wait, Martin Luther King and Charlie Kirk. Number one, Martin Luther King was in way different times to where you just get taken out for so you could just get taken out for the smallest things, for the color of your skin. I'm not comparing those times. I'm only comparing the word who's a martyr. And they're a martyr whether you like them or not.
Yeah, so I hear your perspective. So, like words. So like, okay, so some interpretations of words are like really literal and some are more nuanced, right? Because to your point, literally a martyr is someone who dies for their beliefs. So to your point, yes. So to your point, literally, Charlie Kirk is someone who died for his belief. I think the nuance here is that another definition of a martyr is someone who dies for their beliefs, who's enduring persecution. He was
Okay,
not
that is-
enduring persecution. So when I heard that, and this is why it's good, it's like our little first, because when I heard Uppity ask that, I heard enduring persecution, but you heard the literal definition, someone who dies for their beliefs. Is that fair to say?
That's fair. Mhm.
So do you think Charlie Kirk was enduring persecution during his murder?
What do you mean by that?
What do I mean by enduring persecution?
A lot of Charlie Kirk has gotten. So I don't want to see. Okay, what I don't want to do is make you guys. I'm not comparing Martin Luther King and Charlie Kirk. So we
Oh no,
just,
I'm off the rev.
No, no,
then.
no,
I'm off the
that's
rev.
fine.
Okay, and we can go to the next thing if like it's getting to right. Do y'all want to hear the next one?
Is it
Or you
too
wanna
intense?
finish
She need to work this.
Is it too intense, Emil?
She
Well, I
just
just wanna make
agreed
sure-
and she understood the difference, and then now when she's asking for a direct answer, and that's how it works in a debate. So she's trying to gauge how her debating style should go, so they can know how to gauge each other. Where she won't just shut down, because I mean, you just said 2 seconds ago she understood the difference, and then now when she made it in a reference point to Charlie Kirk, she's kind of backtracking.
A tad bit antagonizing for someone that's supposed to be a mediator. I really feel that
Okay.
I feel a lot of energy coming towards
I'm
Emmy's
not
way.
antagonizing. I don't want you to feel that way. I'm
Right,
just
that's
saying
what I don't
happened.
want. That's why I want to move on.
No, you two
I don't
cameras,
think
no,
it's
and this is
not
what we can't do victimization here. We can't
No,
do
no, no.
victimization here. She brought it
No.
up. And
No,
only thing
it's-
listen, it's not
Landlord,
antagonizing.
we can't have
If you
anybody
say
else
in
up.
one instance, if
Come
you say
back.
like no. If you're a moderator, you have to ask the tough questions. She just
Hi,
answered it
Penelope.
2 seconds ago. We rewind the video. She said that she understood the difference between the two. And she said, because I felt like when Uppity asked a question, because I just asked a simple question, and the way she responded made me ask a follow-up question. But then when I tried to follow up again, I got shut down by her. I didn't say anything. She felt more comfortable discussing it with HB. HB
Well-
broke it down and she agreed. And then when HB asked in reference to her own talking point, she then is back sliding again. So that's the only thing I'm saying. Like, it's not going to go
Okay,
nowhere if every time somebody asks her uncomfortable question about her own
No, you
talking
can't say
point,
every
she shuts
time,
down.
because every time is 100%, and I did not get offended 100% of the time.
Well,
and I'm
Emil,
not
let me just offer this to you real quick. So part of my engagement style is to ask questions to like understand somebody's perspective. So I'm not trying to be antagonistic. I'm just asking you questions so I can understand. Go ahead.
I just want to be clear, even though I know you got off of the Martin Luther King thing, I just want to be clear that I'm strictly speaking right now on Charlie Kirk, not making any comparison. All right, so I gotta be so careful with my words. Charlie Kirk believed what he believed, and there were conservative values, and it offended a lot of people because some people felt that it was hatred. You've expressed that it was for the wealthy and things like that, and I know that a lot of people felt like that. I did not agree with everything that Charlie Kirk said. All right, I only agree with his right to say it, and I want to make that clear that that's the only thing I'm speaking about. Yes, he catered to a certain amount of people. Yes, he spoke this way, but I was all for the. I know what both sides are saying in that situation.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanna move on. Landlord, I say come back because it's getting kind of like the reason why I have different topics is so that you can
Thank you,
talk about
landlord.
different things, so that it doesn't get too like it doesn't feel too much like a debate. You kind of get a snippet of idea of what the other person feels. So the next thing that I want to
Well, YTC, can I share something really quickly?
yes.
So something I'm learning about MU is that she really doesn't like for her words to be taken out of context. Like she wants you to respond to what she literally said. MU is
Okay,
that fair to
landlord.
say?
Landlord, thank you, landlord. Like
It
you can
is
be in the
Like on
chat.
face value, what you're saying?
Well, yeah, I don't want it to be. Well, I don't think anyone wants to be misinterpreted,
Mhm.
and that's the only thing I try to bring clarity to. I was strictly speaking about the word in itself only, and
Gotcha.
nothing
Not like
more.
other connections. Okay.
Mhm.
Go ahead, YTC.
Okay, so the next thing is how do each of you feel about balancing individual rights versus collective responsibility? HB, you go first because I think MU went the last time, right?
Can you
I would
repeat
go.
that?
Okay, how do each of you feel about balancing your individual rights versus collective responsibility?
I feel like the two are intertwined. I feel like the more we become self-aware and firm in our understandings of who we're trying to contribute to, why, what we believe in, then the better we can show up in the collective. I do feel like in America, we're really conditioned to be very individualistic. And the more we actually care about other people's well-being, the better off we can take care of ourselves. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but I tried.
I think it gives us an idea of how you view the topic. Okay, you're next, MU.
I actually agree with HB here. I feel like they're intertwined as well. I feel like they're intertwined. Do you want to elaborate on your question? Yeah. Unless there's more that you want to add to the question, but that's how I feel.
Well, so YTC, hello?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
She said, did she want to elaborate on your question at all?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's anything
me?
else?
Okay, I thought she was posing that to HB. I'm a busy like.
No, I was asking you.
Okay, so to elaborate, think about how do you feel about balance, like individual right, you as a person, okay? Like let's take for instance, everybody has the ability to like vote, but the individual person, if they say, well, I feel like my vote doesn't matter, I feel like whatever, individually they've decided to not make that choice. However, they probably will voice their opinion collectively on what's the outcome of voting. What are your thoughts about you as an individual? That's just an example I can think of.
So I don't think you can stop. Okay, so put it like this. So I told this to people that feel like their vote doesn't matter. If I feel, because I won't just vote for a president because of their political affiliation, number one. Nor will I vote for them just simply based on the color of their skin. If I don't agree with either president, I'm not going to vote for any president, but because that's the electoral vote. But the rest of the things on the ballot is a popular vote. So I would still vote. But some people feel that it's not going to matter if they're just one person. It's really hard to convince people otherwise that stand that way. So you already, even if you don't vote, you've already spoken. You've already chosen. You're not part of the solution. I would just say you're part of the problem, but I'd rather you not vote than vote ignorantly. I do feel it's all of our responsibility. Our ancestors fought for us to have this right to vote. So obviously it is important, but I myself won't always vote for a presidential candidate if I do not agree with either one, or I'll write myself in like I have before.
Okay, collective responsibility, Janelle, you put in there versus more.
Thank you for that response, MU.
What do both people feel like? What do HB and you think that that's, because I don't know if you found one president that do all of these things. So what are the top 3 things that a president could be passionate about, or a future president could be passionate about, that'll make you overlook policies? Because you can't find one president that check every bookmark. So what are the 3 things you need in place for you to just go gun-ho and risk your life going on social media talking about it?
Thank you for that beautiful question, Uppity. And also want to thank everyone that's here engaging with us, even the people that are critical of myself or MU. We're just out here trying to give some content to the people. So thank you for joining us. So MU, Uppity, sorry. Unfortunately, I feel like presidential elections are very surface level. They're popularity contests. They're not really about like hard-hitting policies. There's a lot that's put into like social media campaigns. It doesn't really get to the root of it, because when you do get to the root of it and leave a policy, people say you're boring. People say they can't connect. So, I am involved in politics on the local level. I cannot ever imagine at the federal level. It seems like a lot. But I would say American politics feels like a bastardization of what it could be.
Damn.
When it comes to what they should focus on, I think the number one focus should be developing safety nets for all people. I don't think people should starve just because they're in poverty. I don't think people deserve to be in poverty. I don't think people deserve to not be able to provide for themselves. So I think being serious about safety nets for all people, perhaps Medicare for all, I don't think people should be dying because they can't afford their medication. How do you prove that kind of care? It's typically in people's track records. Uppity, I think earlier you were talking about track records with legislation. You want to track that, but also look at their track record with the community, and see how they're investing. But again, nationally, that's like a really hard scale. So you want to see what they do like locally. So those are the top two things. I can't think of a third one, but I'll stop and hand it to MU.
I'm all for protecting the. Thank you for that, HB. I'm all for protecting the borders. I believe that is why Donald Trump won this election, but this isn't about Donald Trump. So that is one of the things that I go for. At least this election, why it meant a lot to me that he spoke about that. He spoke about, things for America. When I think of a president, I think of one that wants to keep our nation safe. Healthcare is obviously a big concern for me. And taxes is going to be another one.
Okay, so
Can I please ask a follow-up? Can I please ask a follow-up?
Sure.
So, how do I say this? So you said, so you said safety and taxes, right?
There's just things in general. When I think of any president, I do think about, number one, some of us pay a lot in taxes. That's one thing. I mean, I would like to see America affordable for not just a certain group of people, but for, I've spoken a lot about this stuff, livable wages, having a livable income. Like if you work, you should be able to take care of your family. I don't believe everybody should be millionaires because not everybody did the work to be a millionaire. But I do believe that if you're a physician or you're a lawyer, you're obviously going to be in a higher bracket. All right. You're going to earn more. You did the schooling for it. That's not what I'm saying. But I do believe that everybody should be able to take care of their families. Everybody should be able to feed their families. If you're working, then you need to have a wage that's going to compensate you so you can take care of your family. Absolutely.
So let me ask you your next question, because I think both of you guys kind of have common ground when it comes to the healthcare situation. And presidents being involved in that. What about grassroots organizations? Do you think there should be more funding and also, how you say, watch Big Brother eye on these grassroots organizations? Because it's often people in the community that knows best for the community, whether they local or federal Congress people.
You know what? Uppity, I think that's a great question, but I do want to retreat really quickly to what you said. I think that MU and I have the same care and concern for people, but I don't know if we have the same views, because I know that MU identifies as a Republican, and I don't know if MU is okay with like all the decisions that the party line makes. But it wasn't there the what was it called when the government shut down? Like, didn't that happen because the Republican Party didn't want to give adequate funds in order for people to be able? Okay, and isn't that about to happen again next Friday?
Yes.
That is not why the shutdown happened. The shutdown happened because number one, it was a Democratic shutdown. The Republicans did not want, and I don't want my views attacked, you guys. I don't agree with everything from the Republican Party just because I'm a Republican. It doesn't mean that I'm MAGA. It does not mean anything other than a Republican. First off.
Oh, okay. So you don't identify as MAGA? You're just like establishment Republican?
Because I was a Republican before Donald Trump got into office. I was speaking about the same views, and it only became popular because Trump got into office.
Got it. Okay. That's good to know.
So
I know, but we were talking about the government shutdown. So you felt like the Republicans had nothing to do with it? You think they don't have no part? They don't have no part in it?
On to the question that I was asked. So I was responding to your question, Uppity. So what I was saying was the shutdown because the Republican Party refused to give trillions of dollars to illegal immigrants and healthcare. It was not about anything other than that, regardless of what they're trying to tell you. That's what it was about. So am I for?
No, MU, and I'm not taking sides here. I'm just going by the President House Association. The shutdown was more than about healthcare. The shutdown was about any federal program. So, and what they said was some program.
No, it was not Uppity. It was 5.
So can you cite your source? Well, can you tell us exactly? Can you tell us the exact programs?
When it came down to it, when they were able to agree on every other issue, it came down to the healthcare for illegal immigrants. That was what held the 5 Democrats out. That's what they wouldn't agree. The Republicans weren't budging. So there's the shutdown. And I'm not even arguing Republican or Democrat. I'm not, because I don't agree with anything from either party 100%. I won't. But that shutdown had to do with the funding of illegal immigrants and their healthcare. And my argument that I went live almost every day during the shutdown about was Americans don't even have affordable healthcare. Why would we give $1 trillion to illegal immigrants that came here undocumented? That's where I stand.
No, I agree with the immigration status. As far as I feel like, as far as you should fund your own people in your own country, the underprivileged, the in poverty and things. I do believe that there has to be some type of thing for immigration, because that's how the peace treaties come in, and that's something that they work in within there. But I do feel like there should be more force on there. But my thing to you is this, because when it comes to the underserved community and things like that, there has been a big shutdown of all these different agencies and grants. Whether you're a college student, whether you're a working person that's in some type of program. And now we're getting to see that a lot of women, Black women, white women are being affected by the DEI thing. So a lot of people that people thought were going to be affected by these benefits, they are not. It's actually middle class people that has been affected with their job. A lot of people saw they just wasn't that special. They were a tax write-off in the company. So that's what I'm speaking on, more of that aspect, not so much the border thing, because I think that has a big thing, but also corporate hasn't had to face any of these tragedies. So that's what I'm speaking on more, is like grassroots organization. They can talk about community needs and get the funding in the community, because they're going to talk about their community, not so much immigration or care about corporate businesses, you know?
Okay. Can we switch gears a little bit? Okay, so the next one is like scrolling across the screen. How has social media influenced your political views? That could be any social media, whatever social media you use, whether it's YouTube, whether it's IG, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's whatever.
YTC, do you mind if I kick it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
I don't mind you kicking it off. Go ahead.
Social media has definitely widened my perspective. I get to listen to people like MU, and understand different perspectives from somebody who I think means well. What I was wanting to say earlier, but I'm trying to be fair and neutral and non-antagonistic, is anytime I listen to Fox News or I listen to someone who identifies as a Republican, a Trump fan, supporter, or right wing, is they oftentimes regurgitate the same talking points. Because if you want to look at immigrants, and I know we're veering off of that, but say that immigrants are the reason that people don't have well-paying jobs, who do you not blame? The billionaires that are getting away with paying people as little as possible and paying as little tax as possible. Many of us pay more taxes than billionaires.
Right.
Many of us are closer to being homeless than being billionaires. So of course the American dream is going to dangle in front of people's faces so that they suck up to the people whose boots are on their neck, and they're going to punch down because that's easier, versus tapping into collective consciousness and realizing what we deserve and using voting as a single avenue, but also showing community care, giving rights, having conversations like this. So there's a myriad of ways to actually lean into our collective power beyond voting and beyond being a fan of a political party that doesn't give a single fuck about any of us.
Okay. Social media has brought in a lot of people that's into politics. I think it's brought in a lot of our minds. It's definitely, I'll speak personally, it's brought in mine, because there was a time where, because I know how people feel about the things that I'm talking about, it's why I stopped doing panels. It's why I stopped streaming to people over here, and I took my commentary elsewhere, because you get tired of you just get tired of a lot of things, and it is nice to talk to other people that share some of your ideas. However, I have my thoughts are more broad now, where people will say something to me and I do take a pause and I think about it, and I've learned how a lot of other people think and feel, but more importantly, why. If they could tell me their why, and they have a reason besides what somebody else told them, or whatever, then I have learned a lot from it. I think that social media puts us all in one space where we can all learn and hear from each other, and we're not always going to agree. But it doesn't make you bad or evil. It doesn't make me bad or evil. It's that we see things differently.
Yeah, and MU, that's why I appreciate you for saying yes to this conversation. I know we were both shy and nervous. I hope that we're a little bit more familiar. I do think that we are in a day and age where there's a lot of mental fragility, right? I'm not going to hold you. If you were somebody of a different race or gender, I don't know if I'd have this conversation with you because we wouldn't have enough common ground. But because we do share those things, I assume that like our perspectives are aligned enough to be able to talk to each other in good faith. But I think like, again, these political parties, they benefit, and I'm not saying this for you, okay, it's just so you know, but they benefit when people's sole identity is in serving that party, because then you automatically don't vote or operate in interest of your other needs. So that's all like I'm trying to say. And social media has been used as a vehicle to really deliver a lot of propaganda, to really desensitize us, to get us to see each other as opponents. So I'm just naming that social media is definitely a tool of education, but also of propaganda.
No, HB is not Spanish.
What? I didn't.
Landlord has that in my chat.
No, I think social media gave us a platform to see people directly. You don't have to depend on the news. You can go right to these people's countries and see what's going on. I think that's what social media gave us. You don't have to depend on politicians, because if you look at it, like I always use Haiti as an example. Look how many funds they took and none of them reached Haiti. Haiti has been the most vocal about it. So a lot of, you got to be careful with a lot of liberal people that claim they're doing this on this person's behalf. Because you got to be careful of the Democrats. Like I said, I think self-care starts at home first, and then you reach out to other communities. But like I said, there are peace trees in order, and I do think you should, but as far as I'm concerned, the immigration thing, it mostly affecting like the Trump. To me, he gave everybody a wake-up call, because when it was just Black people facing that, whether they were immigrants or in this country, it wasn't nobody's problem. But now it's everybody's problem. So everybody's getting to see the government for what it is.
Yes.
I think people should use that information and do better with it. Yeah. Because before it was Black people was lazy. Now look at you. Yeah.
Go ahead, MU. Thank you. Uppity.
No, I was just saying, I like that. Go ahead. I was just saying.
And this is what I want to offer. Uppity, what you said makes me think about two quotes. I think I shared this on one of my lives a week ago. I don't know. But one quote deleted. Thank you. One quote is from Octavia Butler, and she says, "There's nothing new under the sun, but there are new suns." Right. And so to your point, a lot of people, white people in particular, are saying that this is the government that Black people, brown people, Native Americans have seen ever since engaging this country. Okay. The second quote is, "The old world is dying and a new one struggles to be born." So a lot of people could see this political upheaval as an opportunity to not only ask for, but demand better conditions for our neighborhoods and communities. And I think that is what the ruling class is afraid of. When people start seeing across sexuality lines, racial lines, class lines, and realize that we outnumber the ruling class 99% to 1%, there's only so many neighborhoods they can cover or protests they can stop. We even saw a general strike that happened last Friday that has people shook because tens of thousands of people participated in a general strike. What happens to Jeff Bezos when he no longer has people working for $8 an hour that can't pee?
Ooh,
right. We see
and so they don't want people to realize that, so they say trans people shouldn't play sports or men and women fight, as opposed to, why are you on your ass exploiting hundreds of thousands of people while people cannot feed their children? That is the question. All the other shit is a distraction, just like Toni Morrison said. And Uppity's words, I'll mute.
Thank you, Boo. And I just wanted to answer Janelle, and this is the point for me to answer. Uppity does not receive social services, but I find it funny. Your prior comment was how you're a nurse practitioner, but you work in a free. They don't get no benefits from the main hospital, but they get it from free health center, which we know is not true. hospitals in the USA are not allowed to deny nobody health coverage if it's a dire situation. So, that's how a lot of illegal babies got over here, because they cannot deny nobody giving birth. That's one of the rules. So we're not going to play that game. But you feel a way that I get food stamps, but not nobody that came from another country to get food stamps. I paid into the system. So that's your choice. My kid don't get it because you know why? Her daddy, even though he was born in another country, he was here 20 years before I met him. He has a whole work system. In New York City, you don't get the right to put your child's father on child support. They put him on if you're receiving services. And none of my child's father ever had to deal with that. So while you caping for these immigrants, but got a problem with an American Black woman receiving what she can, that's the problem right there. This is why I really don't care about Black people that's so involved, because y'all love everybody but yourselves. I mean,
can I say something that kind of goes? Thank you, Uppity. I don't know. Thank you, Uppity, for that. I guess you have to get somebody together. The Republican core values, you guys. I think that you guys are. I'm just saying this before you go with the other questions. Our biggest things are individual liberty. So when you're talking about anything outside of that, it's like, yeah, we're going to agree or disagree, but those are our biggest things. I already spoke about lower taxes. I already spoke about, economic freedom. But when you're voting Republican, I mean, you have to know when you're talking to a Republican, they're for a strong national defense. Yes, there's going to be things that is happening that you guys are like, oh, what about ICE? What about this? What about this with healthcare? Strong individual liberty, lower taxes, those are the things that most Republicans are. Limited government. So we're talking about food stamps and stuff, you may not want to talk about it, misunderstood. Now, when it came to the men and women's sports, I do not believe that men belong in women's sports, because you have people that have worked their whole life to be in the Olympics, and all of a sudden you get this big testosterone-filled man that wants to compete against a woman. So I'm glad that those things became, nope, we're not doing it. You're not doing it. But the bigger issue besides all of that were the things that I spoke about. The individual liberty, limited government, traditional values, strong national defense. That's why people usually vote Republican. Now, not every Republican is conservative. Some are more liberal. Some are more, not all are the same. But we do have those things in common. I'll go on mute.
Thank you for that, MU. I do have a question. Do you know what percentage of the American population identifies as trans?
No, that is not something I would even.
Okay, it's 0.4%, not even 1%.
Okay, but what I was gonna say, no, I don't know how many identifies trans.
0.4.
But okay, thank you for that information. And I don't believe that small amount should be in women's sports. How you doing,
Right.
Mr. Skinny? I see you.
And just the percentage of trans athletes in the NCAA is 0.003%.
But it was a problem though, because it was a problem because that's we all seen it when they competed against women, and women have refused to compete against them, to box against them. Yeah. And I'm not saying that a person shouldn't be trans. Go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I hear you. And it's also interesting, not interesting, but again, I'm learning, right? I don't know about Republican core values. So that was interesting to hear about, like, individual freedom. And I think you mentioned lower taxes and economic freedom. No, you said individual liberty. I don't want to misquote.
Individual liberty, lower taxes, stuff like that, strong national defense. Those are the key.
Right.
values.
Yeah. So, which is why I think it's interesting that so many Republicans are against abortion. Right, which is like
not all Republicans.
Well, yeah, I didn't say all. I said so many, which is having the individual liberty to decide what to do with your own body. I also think about how a lot of Republicans are pro cops that slain us when we're trying to, individually, liberatively walk down the street. I also think about education, right, and how a lot of people are against giving adequate resources to poor kids, Black kids, brown kids, so that they can have equal opportunity. So this is where I get like kind of confused with, I think, to your point, some of that
stuff. If you break it, because you put a lot of things in there.
I can repeat it, but just give me 1 second. That's where I get confused with some of like the branding, because if you're saying individual liberty, I'm like, okay, I'm all for that, but there's just some contradiction. So the three things I mentioned were abortion, being able to like walk down the street, George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, people like that. And education.
Okay, let me speak on it. So a lot of the things that I'm not interrupting you, right? I'm gonna speak on.
No, you're very patient. Thank you.
Okay. Not all Republicans are pro-life, as I was saying. That's gonna depend if they're Christian or not, because I know some Republicans, I know a lot of Republicans that are pro-choice, and we get into debates amongst ourselves. And that goes back to when does conception begin? So that's not really, and there's also Democrats that are pro-life or pro-choice. So I don't really narrow that down to a party. When it comes to education, a lot of things that we're forgetting is that with education, I am big on education, which goes back to housing, because your property taxes pay for the public school system. Your money goes back into the schools. So that's a loaded conversation, a loaded question that people should make. With your house needs to appreciate in value. That's the American dream. And we know that with certain people of color, that hasn't been the case, which affects, it's important because that affects our education system. That affects the money that they're paying in these schools and for these teachers. And so the teachers aren't overcrowded. So yeah, it goes back to that. I'm all for people and education. Republicans are all for people and their education. You got to go back to the housing market and how people are paying in their property taxes, because when these houses depreciate in value, that affects the whole community, affects the neighborhood, because your kids are going to school. Oh, go ahead.
What kind of question, MU, about that logic that you
No, but
have?
if I interrupt
I
you
know,
guys,
but what
you're
about New
mad
York
at me.
City,
You
where
guys are
people,
mad at me.
hold on,
up,
what
did
about
she
New York
finish?
City, but you,
What I'm not understanding is we can interrupt MU and then you guys want to call me names.
Wait, can you
no,
let her
you
finish?
interrupted me, but I just want to know you wasn't answering the question fully
Oh my
because
gosh.
you're talking about housing
Y'all don't
market.
derail this. This is going well. Just let her finish and then you can make your point.
question, and I was answering her question. But since I don't need to answer the question, then go ahead. Go ahead.
Wait,
She
you
was gonna
didn't
deflect
finish?
anyway because she was rambling. But I have a question based on her answer. I'm not arguing with you. I have a question based on your answer because what about places in New York City where they are higher income callers, they are high income earners, and they don't have no high housing property tax to pay into, and there's still a big thing between the schooling. So that's not answering the question. So unless you only for kids getting good education that parents have houses, like what was the point of that answer? I'm here.
It's okay, girl. It's fine. Next question then.
Okay, so the next question is, what is the policy area each one of you think will shape the next decade? Plus, I have more. I mean, if you just let me know when you're tired and don't want to keep going.
I'll let HB
Can
have
I
it.
ask, thank you, Amy. Can I ask for this to be the last question, or is it you want to
Well,
have to?
damn.
I
It will be
know.
a question.
So, Amy, one thing about me, my social battery.
For my question, I ain't forcing nobody to answer nothing.
I'm sorry.
Answer. Thank you.
Trying to
What?
uppity. I was like, I'm not even upset at any of you. I was hoping to answer a lot of questions so people can stop wondering, why do I think this way? Why do I feel this way? But it's not just me. This is what a lot of people that's on the other side think, and it's not a hate thing. I'm trying to tell you guys that we all want the same thing for our families. We all want the same things for our countries. And I do feel that it's important for there to be blacks in the Republican Party and blacks in the Democratic Party, because neither party, they're both the major parties. Neither one is going anywhere. And it is important that we're represented on both sides.
Now, HB, I don't know if you forgot my question because her answer stated that
I'm sorry.
when you asked about the education system, she started talking about housing and property taxes. And I was just trying to bring up the point that in New York City, people pay a lot of taxes, and majority, hardly anybody own houses, especially ones paying the most taxes. So I was wondering, how did housing and home property taxes affected the education, especially when there are major cities like New York City. Majority of the people that pay the biggest taxes don't live in housing, but there's still a big problem when it comes to the education system. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a good question, Uppity. So if I'm veering off, let me know. I don't know a lot of things. That's the thing about politics. Like, it feels like people have to present like they know everything, and I don't know about taxes and stuff. But what I feel like I'm hearing you saying is everybody contributes taxes, right? Like, it comes out of our check, right? So we're literally lending our labor to the infrastructure of our neighborhoods, cities, states, nations. Like, this is our money. That's why people get upset, because we have to work in order to survive, and the government taxes us, and it's supposed to be for the collective good. but it's going into individual people's pockets. That is why our kids don't have the resources that they need. So, uppity, to your point, taxes are high, right? But housing is inadequate, education is inadequate, people are not getting the care that they need. And if it wasn't coming out of our labor and our taxes, that's one thing. But it's coming, they're what's what I'm looking for? They're misdirecting funds, misallocating funds, sorry. And I know this because when I started getting involved in local politics and city hall, it's extremely corrupt. And so what's very frustrating about this, and I'll land my plane, but it's like it's always the people that are seen as disposable that get fucked. Poor people, Black people, women, we're always seen as disposable. And so when people that are in elite classes or ruling classes or dominant genders or races feel a little uncomfortable, we literally get murdered in the streets, but also through legislation and policy, because violence and disregard is baked into policy. So that's the connection. Like, our taxes are supposed to go towards safety nets and social good. But because they're selling this individualistic mindset, people are like, oh, it's okay for billionaires to fuck us over because I'm going to be a billionaire tomorrow. When again, people are closer to being homeless than billionaires. I'll mute.
People are closer to being homelessness than billionaires. The reason why it was important, if you ask me about education, these are things that I happen to. Do I know about everything? Absolutely not. And I'll tell you, can you either elaborate on the question or I have to pass on the question if I don't know. So I don't know everything. In the United States, the reason why I brought up taxes is because you're asking about the educational system, which is why I spoke about homes depreciating in value. Why did I speak about homes depreciating in value? Because our schools, the public schools, are funded by local and federal taxes, but 87% of that comes from the state and local taxes, but the main sources are your local property taxes. Why does that matter? Because we know as Blacks as a whole, our homes, and I'm not even speaking so much today, but back in the day, our homes depreciated in value, and that money went to fund the educational school system, which is where you get the systematic racism and all of that. That's where all that ties into. So the money that's funding our educational system, 87% of that, a large portion of that would be property taxes. Yes, these funds are misappropriated. I get that. But the ones that directly affect the educational system would be the ones that we pay into, and we pay into property taxes. So that's where I was going with that.
Now, Emu, I completely understand where you're coming from. And this is I feel like you've been very fair critiquing Republicans, and so I'm going to critique progressives. I don't identify as a Democrat. I do not identify with the political party, but I identify as a progressive. I always want society to get better. And one of the critiques I have of progressives is they're oftentimes not rooted in reality. So it's very pie in the sky. This is how things should be. But if you ask them, how are we going to do that? They don't have an answer. And I feel like you lose people when that happens. And so I do agree with you about the deterioration of our houses and communities. But anytime I'm looking at the current status of a population, a community, a neighborhood, I can't just assess where they're at. I have to ask, how did they get here? And so when you look at Black communities that used to be thriving and prominent, right? And you look at, like, what is it called? Redlining? Is that redlining where they put highways through Black neighborhoods? Is that what that is?
Redlining is when you had to get homes like in certain areas, and then
Right.
you had the justification. But all of what you just said goes along with it, because that helps
Yeah, okay.
separate people. So it all goes along the same thing. So you're right.
Right. And so again, like you said, you don't know a lot about housing. I don't know a lot about like the military and stuff, but I do know that Black soldiers that came back to America were not able to apply for the same housing vouchers that white soldiers were, right? So when they do settle and they do make something of what they have, and then there's redlining, right? And you go to apply for something and you can't because you're colored. I mean, people want to be critical of Black people now and just talk shit on Black people, Black Americans, not looking at the decades of intentional abandonment and undermining that took place to contribute to where we are, which is why people are making the call for reparations. I don't know a lot about that, but this country likes to act like it's all about equity and equality when there is still inequality baked into our very systems and institutions right now. I'll stop.
You're right about
Yeah, and I agree. And I just want to add to that real quick. There are a lot of, because Black people, when we have to watch kin folks from other kin folks, right? Because black people have fought for rights for a lot of brown people from other countries and straight up black people with other ethnicities. And a lot of these people that we have put in office often vote against reparations for us as black people because we wanted just for American black people, because I felt like black people have fought. We have not received anything. We actually built this country. Our ancestors are no longer here to receive it. So why not their lineage? And why is it okay for us to still fund the special people that start with a J, but not okay to pay black people for what they did? Let them mess up the money if they want to. Let them do whatever they want. At the end of the day, their ancestors built this. Y'all don't stop any other people, children from benefiting, and no matter how much they do or don't do with it, because a lot of good names have went down due to their children not knowing how to put the legacy forward, but give black people their chances. So I feel like we don't get a lot of these benefits. So whatever black people get is only crumbs. And like she said, it's really about the big companies bailing out these banks, bailing out these other countries at no benefit to us. I'm talking about black people. I can't speak for everybody as a whole because everybody has been getting a piece of the pie, not us.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you have something to elaborate on that? If not, the next question or the last question is on the screen.
Yeah, I did want to elaborate a little bit. Thank you. I just wanted to say for HB, so absolutely right. And people forget that there was a time, going back to a military comment. So there was a time where blacks did not get paid and they served in the military and didn't get paid. So there's a lot of problems here. I wanted to comment right after you spoke, so I didn't forget my point I was going to make. But not only, so you have, no, it's not your fault. So the military, that was a big deal because blacks fought for this country, didn't get paid for it, because when you started demanding equal, it wasn't even just the payment back in those days, it was the treatment, the uniforms, didn't have adequate boots. There was a lot that went there. But also with school, blacks were not allowed to go to school because blacks demanded we were in these crowded classrooms. And once they demanded to have like more space, then they made it so that way everybody had to go to private schools. And so the poor whites that wanted to go to the private schools, they said, wait a minute, don't worry about it. And they gave them vouchers to go to the school. Blacks didn't get that. So we lost those 4 years of education. So there's been one thing after another. So when they made the school so everybody had to pay for it, then the poor whites just went to the private schools as well. So there was a lot of things that kept us back. And we all know about, what happened with Rosewood and all that. So there's been a lot of things that have taken our wealth away. So I'm not blind to those facts. And those are some of the reasons why I do speak a lot about wealth, property taxes, and the debt that was stolen. That debt was never repaid. And I think a lot of times when people are talking about reparations, they are forgetting that it's not a handout. It's something that was taken away, and money appreciates in value. So therefore, there is money to pay reparations. They've chosen not to pay for reparations. So we do understand the Black struggle. It's not going anywhere, but that is a debt that needs to be paid. But you're always going to have that argument and the divisiveness of, who's Black American, who actually gets the money. And it's just, right. Blacks have had a hard time in the United States. And I don't think we could take away from that.
Yeah. And I appreciate you saying that. And again, I feel like everything you've said tonight is in good faith. And I hope you feel the same way. Earlier, Lady Whistledown was saying, well, aren't our taxes going to Israel? And we kept this as a domestic conversation. But I think, my eyes have really been open in the last couple of years about how much the government plays in our face. Life-saving money is like monopoly money to them. It's like nothing. In Israel, they have free healthcare. They do. Why don't we? Right? They have free college education.
Reparations every year.
Why don't we?
They got free reparations too.
So it's not that the money is not there. It's the mindset. It's a very colonial mindset. The ruling class in America believes, MU, that if we even the playing field and give Black people reparations, I know it's going to be it would be a complex, nuanced process, but we need to act like it's a legitimate opportunity, because otherwise it'll never be real. One of my favorite quotes: everything happens twice, once in the imagination and then in reality. So we have to stop dismissing it because white people have been able to live into their imaginations. We're living in some white people's imaginations, right? So if Israel can have free education and free healthcare, why can we not? there's this colonial mindset from the ruling class that if they give us basic health care and have our adequate resources and needs met, that we won't work hard to make them billionaires. So when people say it's all connected, that's what it is. And it's like having better lives is not too far off. But if we are led to believe that it's some pie in the sky aspiration, then we'll be content with what we're currently dealing with, which is not enough. All right, I'm done.
I like that. Well
Okay,
said.
do y'all see the question? If you were the president for a day, what's one fun executive order you will sign? MU, you want to go first?
Reparations, easy.
Okay, HB.
I would say reparations as well, but baddies to the front.
That is what? What was the last thing you said?
Baddies to the front.
Oh, okay.
Add it to the front, what you mean?
Baddies.
Oh,
I think I heard
baddies.
baddies. I'm pretty much sure that I heard baddies.
Baddies. Oh, I was like, what
To
you
the
mean?
front. Yeah,
I'm
they
pretty
get the,
sure
they
I
get the
heard her say
reparations first.
baddies.
They get the
Lord
reparations first.
Jesus.
Baddies and hotties to the front.
I didn't think I heard you right. I was like, what? That's
Yeah,
funny.
it would be in the paperwork. MU,
Okay.
I can be your vice president. I'll be your vice president. We'll get
I
that
think
set up.
I would be your vice president. I think we'd make a good team.
YTC, are you happy with this? Uppity, you happy? We're friends.
Yes, I mean it's informal, so I was not judging how it was going. I just didn't want it to go too left. I think based on how the stuff went, whether it was like some of the questions that I asked and it veered off into something else, I think you get the gist of each other's political view, where you stand with some things. Now I could keep going and ask additional questions, but I want to gauge your temperature and see where you're at. Are you okay? Do you want to stop it now?
I'm personally tapped out. A couple people in the chat said they wanted to hit the link. I'd be really curious to hear their thoughts. And I think I should
Okay,
let them
hit the
chat.
link, people.
All right, MU, thank you again. This is lovely, especially since we just met today. I mean, it feels like we've known each other for a week.
I was
See,
just
I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I
was
saw
just
it.
thinking,
Listen, let me tell you how this started. I saw them in the chat. I was like, oh, bingo. I know MU's view for sure. And I definitely have a gauge of HB's. And I think this will make for an interesting conversation for the people who like that kind of talk. I do. Now, that's why I took it off of that other page, because, you know,
Mhm.
you don't want
No,
that.
I really appreciate you. It was an intimate crowd, but you know, I enjoy an intimate crowd. So
I enjoy intimate crowd too, and I even saw slick shade about MU saying she wasn't black, and all those kind of things. I don't know how.
you're
my
black,
personal-
right? You're black.
She's black.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, you identify as black
So
today?
I
But
see something like that. and it's like,
Lord Jesus. The chat is now okay. So the panel is open for anybody who has questions. Please be respectful to all the people on the panel. That includes to a landlord. Don't you give MU a
I'm
hard
leaving.
oh no, if you
MU,
bring
this
them up,
is
I'll go
great.
down to the chat and come
YTC,
back.
this
I'll go
is
down there
great.
and I
Uppity,
will
you
go
are,
down.
Uppity, you are
But I
very
have a-
sharp.
gonna leave.
Bye,
How
y'all.
you
I
gonna
know.
leave? HB? Oh Lord, she dropped so fast. Damn.
She just said she was
Oh, thank
gonna
you,
end
HB. I be knowing. But yeah, I wanted to say,
to HB, all I wanted to say was I wasn't able to look at any videos to see where she stood. I think that the questions that you asked YTC were good, because it kind of gives people an idea, like, oh, okay, this is where she stands, this is where she's coming from. So I enjoyed the conversation. Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed it. I know how you get down, okay, MU. And I thought that you two will make. I think that if you two if she goes on your page, y'all will have a really interesting conversation. It's the type of stuff that my nerdy ass will like tune into when everybody else is somewhere else. You know, that kind of that to me is having an intellectual conversation that is interesting. If you like that kind of stuff, you know, you tune in and tap in and listen to it. That's why I said, oh, let me make the connection between you two, because I feel like kind of like push the envelope a little bit from your views and Up's.
I
Well,
appreciate
you know,
that, and you gave me a chance.
See,
I don't
if we been to a debate before, because do y'all feel? I wanted the panelists coming up. Do y'all think MU would be good for debate? Because he seemed to kind of get defensive when you act. Because sometimes people want clarity. I even explained that earlier. Sometimes you got to have clarity, because when you're in a debate, you never want to assume what anybody meant by anything. So by you asking for clarity, it's not like, you know, jonesing you or get defensive.
Oh, he came up. I
I think
wouldn't
you need
jump
to
down.
watch some debate.
I do think I would. I'm not jumping down. Come on, I was just being stupid. But the thing was, I don't mind people asking questions. Yes, I get passionate sometimes, and you guys know I can be a little, but I know how to tone it down. I know how to tone it back. You just have to remember that when I'm in these spaces, a lot of times, not these spaces, but when I go streaming on my own channel, I get hit with a lot of stuff, and I have to be ready for it. But I don't feel you can ask me whatever you want, and I'll give you clarity. And if there's something that I don't know, I'm gonna say I don't know.
Okay, so if you guys, okay, so are y'all still open to having this debate like at a later time, uppity? But here's what from what happened today, definitely has to be very like on point. Their responses are going to be timed and only they can speak. I don't know if they need a moderator. I don't think they need a moderator. I think you just let each person um speak their viewpoint. And
Keep it in time, and then keep them on track with the questions, because you don't want them going veering off or getting defensive. Like, hey, you got, here's your time. This is what we're talking about. Ignore the chat. Blase, blase, blase. That's how I was asking, because that's what I learned during this debate. Like, some people can't be sensitive. It is what it is. That's how a
you're
debate
saying
goes.
MU can be sensitive, but I think MU is so used to doing this. And I do understand that she decided not to do it in front of the beef sector because she gets a lot of criticism and a lot of like attack. And so it makes it distracting, which is why it has to be on the right platform where, yes, people can voice their opinion, but it's going to be closed off.
Any,
And
any
maybe like for
platform
them,
you
they
go
won't
on,
get
they don't have to be. It's not that serious to me, because HB acts and I accept it. But any platform you go on
the.
that knows about debating, you can't switch the topic because they're sensitive about it. They don't want to answer a question, especially if that's something that they led with. If you
But
lead
I
with
don't feel like
something,
switch the
yeah,
I
that's how it goes.
I didn't switch anything. But if I'm responding to something, because I was cut off a few times, and I know I could have done the same thing. I don't feel that just because I respond a certain way, it doesn't mean anything. I can handle debate. I do this all day, every day. But today was more of us filling each other out and kind of getting each other's, like just this is my first conversation that I really had with HB. I enjoyed the
Yeah.
conversation, but I don't feel that I was any more sensitive to anyone else. I mean, yeah, I could be a little feisty sometimes, but not in a bad way.
I like that. That's why I thought that you and HB will make a good conversation.
Right, I thought I did good holding it down. I thought I did good.
You
had
did.
people talking about the color of my skin. You had people talking about this and that from whatever sector. I don't care. I do feel that, number one, however we have these conversations, I'm glad that you guys are taking a moment to have it. You're going to get back to your mess. You're going to get back to your drama. But thank you for at least letting me express myself, because when I go live, I don't have a platform to where I can answer all of your questions all the time. So when you said it, I was just like, okay.
Yeah, and it was a whim. I know that HB does not, so you know, right? That's why I made the connection. HB does not like to get into the mesh. She doesn't do that on her channel. And she doesn't even like allow people. So that would also be a good place for you and her. Like if y'all decide to take this forward and have those kind of conversation, I should delete everything. There's nothing on her channel. Okay, you can have those kind of conversation, and then but she don't promote it or anything, because she will delete the live or she'll end the live. But I thought that it was good because I like hearing both of you, even though like with you already know how I feel. Sometimes I get triggered and I don't drop down, but I still support you and I still want to hear your voice. And I thought that it was good, and Ubbs did a good point in trying to clarify. Now the thing is, when it is had, then the actual one will be who's gonna be the moderator, like to mediate between the two, like uppity, if you're gonna do it on your channel, when is it gonna happen, who's gonna do, are you gonna need it, but definitely the time, the response and all that time, if any clarifying questions or whatever is needed, then if you decide to have a mediator or a moderator, that person will do that. You're making it seem like I got so many rules. No, she doesn't have any rules. Oh my gosh. Okay, no, she doesn't have too many rules. She's just very particular. She doesn't want the mess on her channel. So this kind of discussion is good. You see how she was very comfortable and engaged. She was tuned in to the discussion. This is the kind of stuff she talks about, different things on her channel. So
Yeah, I was trying to see, and it's okay. I understand why she doesn't leave her videos up. I was just trying to support because I got to speak to her a little bit. I still subscribe, and if I catch one of her streams, I'll definitely be over there. These conversations are usually kind of hard to have, so I'm just glad that we got through it without cutting each other's heads off. Like, I feel that it was a good conversation.
Yeah. So what do you think?
I think it's cool. And like I told you guys, when they do debate, they're gonna need a subject, a topic, because a part of debating is studying. Well, if you debate, you can debate anything. You got to know what you're for and against, and you got to know the other person's talking point. That way, you could debate it without emotion,
An
just
opposing
fact.
end. Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
let's
the
come
that's the
up.
whole point of debate. No emotion, just facts. You can't get you can't feel attacked. I'm not saying this to anybody. I'm just saying in general. That's how debates go. Because if you start getting emotional, they're gonna stop you and be like, "Hey, can you respond to this question?" All you got to do is, I've been in debates all my life. In my high school, competed on top tier, but just watch debates, and that's what they do. Anytime you start getting emotional about somebody asking a clarifying question, actually you lose points for your team.
If we decided, if HB is like, hey, cool, I'm gonna do it, no, and because when you do a debate, you do, like, this was just an informal thing, right? Obviously we'll know what we're gonna talk about, so that way we can both be well versed on that subject. But I think that I don't think that I do get sensitive over certain things, but I don't like my words to be twisted when I'm not saying what I'm saying, because I'm very literal. There's nothing indirect with me. I'm very literal, and this is what I mean. So I just like.
And so is HB. That's why it's even like when you guys do have, yes, it's gonna be formal. Like, I think that both of you should help in picking like what you want to debate. It's gonna be your debate if you guys choose to move forward. You get to pick.
And I don't feel that it's for a moderator, because I didn't even get to finish my answer with HB and you cut in before I got to her third point. And if you would have let me land, I would have tied it in, but you didn't let me do that. You cut me off. So I feel that you were the one that was emotional, not MU.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but you were talking on that question for like at least 5 minutes, and it seemed like you were trying to break down
It wasn't
how
5
to.
minutes.
Well, let
It
me.
wasn't 5 minutes. It was
You would
not 5 minutes.
see. I was just trying it and let you get your point out. You have been doing that to me through the whole show.
Oh,
I didn't say
just
nothing.
say- I
So the
just
reason
meant-
why I said that, the YouTube camera was doing this as well. The reason why I said that, because you was like going on after you had made your point. You was basically trying to make it land, but let me finish. You was trying to make it land and explain how that housing and property taxes go into education, and I was just trying to help you not lose, because there are plenty of states. I live in New York City. People pay high property taxes pay high taxes with no land. So I was wanting you to go more global, because not everybody in your chat got a house. Maybe some people got apartments, and these housing education needs have to be solved without, because I don't think that has much to do with it, because it depends on what city you're in. That's the only thing I'm saying.
California uppity, but when she asked me
Lex.
Hey, YTC. It's me.
Hi, Boo. Thank you for coming.
I spoke on that.
Yes, I can hear you.
No problem. I'll wait till you through talking.
Oh no, I was just saying that she asked me about education. She didn't ask me about homelessness at that time. So I answered their questions, and you felt the need to cut in as I was answering the question. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and then the answer wasn't, you the one that brought up, and once again, you the one that brought up how taxes on your home ties into the educational system, which is why after you went on, well, listen. See, now you can't. This is how the double talk works. That's not going to work. Let me just help you real quick, MU. You just sat here and said that the only reason you brought it up because she asked you about education, but your response, and you spent a good amount of your response on property taxes and housing and stuff like that. And I said, I tried to help you, because there are so many cities that it's not a lot of housing available as far as home ownership. They own condos, own this or this or that, but like, that had nothing to do with education. That was your response. So when people bring up your response, you double talk. Like, that's what you did.
But okay, I get it.
And I apologize for that one time I cut you off, but you had cut me off the whole show. Just watch the replay.
It wasn't just one time. But if you're asking me about education and we're talking about, you know, the quality of it and the schools, and I choose to say, wait a minute, okay, I understand that. That's why, you know, I went to talk about property taxes and how it's funded, and we were talking about misappropriation of funds. It was very relevant, and even if you didn't agree that with it being relevant, as a moderator, it wasn't your place.
Ooh.
You said it was informal, right? When I was asking questions as a moderator, you got offended from that. Even you would interrupt her to answer my question. It was like it was informal.
You were moderating. There's two different roles.
Yeah, it was two roles.
I was moderating. Exactly. And me moderating is telling you we're talking about education, not property taxes. I was trying to explain to you why there was a difference.
The schools.
That's what I was trying to clarify, because asking her to get to the point, because every time you ask her a question, so she could see the error of her ways, it's, oh, I'm being attacked. I don't want to be attacked. Then when you sit there and just straight up tell her the answer, she's still feeling attacked. The chat was saying that the whole time. Everything say to her, it's an attack, and then you two cameras feed it into it. I wasn't, because I was a moderator. HB didn't interrupt me one time. You would interrupt me before I could even get the question out good, because I didn't want to have to clarify with you later. I want to ask a clarifying question, but I'll mute because there's a new person on the panel.
Okay, I'll mute too.
Okay.
Okay,
so, hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Let me get back to the actual chat. I can't type for some reason. So I just want to say to everybody, good job. It is not, I know it's not easy talking in front of a lot of people, because that's why I don't do lives. I don't do them. But good idea, YouTube camera. I feel like this should be done like once a month if you have time, or you know, when you can, and you can do other debates. It doesn't have to be, you know, the same thing. It can be, you know, it's AI taking over the country. One person is for AI, another person is not. Or it could be, you know, any type of idea. It could be healthcare, universal healthcare versus not universal healthcare. It could be a lot of different topics. So I think that this was like real content. So
I like that. I like that.
Good job, Uppity. Good job, MU. Good job, HB. I think it's weird, you know, when you don't know somebody that well, and you know, have a debate. So I understand, like, the nerds could have been there or whatever. So I just wanted to give just a little, just as a subby in the chat, what we heard. And all of y'all can go back and listen. So like the first thing was, YTC, you the host, so I'm gonna get on you. I thought this was just Uppity, MU, and HB. I don't know why people was hitting the link. And you let what's the face up, because
I forgot that I pinned the link. I should have deleted the link.
Oh, because baby,
next time I will delete the link one day.
Oh, okay. Because I felt it going left, and I was like, no, let them get it out, because this is like a trial run, but you know, them getting the nerves out. And when you add other dynamics, you know, especially when they off topic, it's not going to help it. So I'm not trying to tell you how to run your channel. This just, you know, my little criticism to that. Okay, so what I want to say to just everybody, when you are having debate, even if it's informal, just a conversation, discussion, whatever you want to call it, you have to let the person finish. Because MU, you talk about Uppity cutting you off, but you cut off HB a lot of times. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm not picking on MU or nothing like that. I'm just saying y'all have to let each other finish, because everybody is cutting off everybody. And at the end of the day, the point gets lost and it doesn't get heard. You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like y'all need to let each other, people finish, even if they misunderstood what you said. Let them get it out, then you correct it. I think a lot of times for us, we were not lost, but we forgot the question. We were there when they were talking about whatever topic they were talking about, but we forgot the question. The reason being is I know it was informal, but it kind of still needs some structure, because you need to practice anything you want to do. That makes perfect.
Didn't hear myself cut off. I don't think I did cut off HB, and I know that. I know.
You just cut me off. You see what I'm saying? You just cut me off. You could have waited till I was done. I'm gonna tell y'all what y'all. I'm gonna let y'all go back to my.
where I cut her off. Let me go on mute while I look this
Yeah,
up.
because I didn't
But if
see,
you
like, at
red
times
ball,
I
then
was
you're
looking at the
no. But
chat.
hold on, YTC. If you red ball, you're not listening to what I say.
No word. I tell you.
That's fine, you go ahead and do whatever you think
I
you need
just
to
felt
do.
that I didn't. I mean, I felt like because I wanted to hear what HB was saying. So I definitely, if I cut her off, I would apologize directly to HB because I wanted to hear what she was saying. I may have asked for clarity 1 or 2 times or a different word because I didn't want her to go through this whole spell without me knowing what she's talking about. But I don't feel like I cut her off.
Okay, I know you don't, because when you're constantly having a talk and you're trying to get your point out, you're not going to notice it. I said, can I come up and give just a little bit of, I don't hate nobody on here, have an issue with nobody on here. I said, can I give a little bit of criticism from a subby's point what we were listening to? So what I want you to do is allow the comments, allow it to render, the video to render, so that you can go back to the comments. And every time we said, MU, let HB finish, that's when you were cutting her off. You're not going to notice it now because it was earlier in the conversation. So if you're going by the last few minutes, you're not going to notice it. But then you're not also listening to what I'm saying because you want to go back and prove me wrong. Listen, I could be wrong. I'm not trying to say I'm right. I'm just giving you my point of view and a few other subbies' point of view. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when YouTube camera was like, MU, respond. We was like, let her think about her response, get it out. I'm not attacking you at all. I got criticism for Uppity. I got criticism for HB. Like, I mean, as a whole, you know what I'm saying? I'm not attacking you.
I don't think it was attacking me. I think that.
But okay. Okay, I'm not gonna argue about it. It's fine, MU. You do whatever you want to do. It's fine.
Right now, it's a natural thing to respond. I started
the whole time. Uppity was not doing it. I did it once and I admit it, but I was frustrated at that point. But I'll take your criticism. I'll wait. Watch me be patient. I'm here.
Because it may not even be the criticism about is a whole. So this issue might not be about you, Uppity. But the one thing that made, I pointed out, and you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like Uppity, you are a better debater than moderator. Because baby, the way you debate, you love to debate. And I've heard you say a lot of times that you can tell you love to debate and you know how to debate. I know for a fact I was raised on debate. You know how to debate. So I think and the only reason I say that is because as a moderator, like when MU was asking you questions, I would this is just my opinion, would have preferred you say, when MU, I'm not here to give my opinion, I'm here to moderate, because that brought you in the conversation. And then when you didn't agree with something she said, she was like, well, this is not fair, or see this, and then she got more riled up. So to keep them calm and make sure that they don't pick sides, as a moderator, you can never tell them your opinion. Even when you said you were trying to help MU out before I started talking, you were saying what about New York? And you were talking about the housing and the cost of living. Nobody needs any guidance or help, because she didn't take it that way. She just thought, oh, you're not agreeing with me. But as a moderator, you shouldn't be, agreeing with anybody or not agreeing with anybody, but MU, you kind of brought her into it when you asked her a question, and then that opened the door for her to keep responding to different questions. When you had excellent questions, Uppity, because I even told Cassie in the chat, I said, oh, that's a good question. And she said, that's not my question. I just posted it because they keep getting off topic. That's Uppity's question. I said, well, that's when, YouTube camera started putting the question on screen. We need to put the question on screen because that's a good question, but it was getting lost. And I think it was getting lost, number one, because, everybody was, not on every question, but some questions were giving their opinion, even as a moderator. And number two, when you have a debate, I know this is informal, but it still needs to be a little structure. When you have, something like this, if it's too many rebuttals, the original question gets lost. You see what I'm saying? Like, either it's going to be 1 or 2 rebuttals and then you move on. Because when people go back and forth, they're going off of what the last person said, and then what the last person said might not even be about the question. So then it gets lost. You see what I'm saying? So that's yep. Another critique. And all I'm saying is this was a good run. It was the first time. I'm not trying to say
that's true.
You're
right. You're right. I receive that. Oh, thank you.
And I think Uppity, you definitely need to do a debate with somebody. I don't know who it's gonna be, but if YouTube camera's gonna stick to this, then maybe you need to actually definitely do a debate, because you are really
channel. But I agree with
because
you.
I really wanted it to be the three of them.
But if I debate somebody, it definitely got to be on YouTube camera channel so it could be like fair. But I I could debate any subject, but like I said, it does need to be some structure. I need to know the subject at hand so I could do my debate because I could see what they're gonna try to say so I could get them. And I don't have no problem going with HB. She seemed like a good component. I ain't got no problem with that.
Or MU, but MU, I feel like she's getting her feelings. So I just, MU's a good debater, but she don't stick to it. And hush, HB, Alexis is so smart. So are you. Anyway, try to be funny. But yeah, I know it was informal, but I'm just saying this is the reason it was, not all over the place, but the questions got lost. That's the only thing I'm saying. Like when MU and HB were going back and forth, the questions kind of got lost because there was so many rebuttals. That's all I'm trying to say. So maybe I don't need to use the word rebuttals, but there was so much feedback off of each other that the original question got lost. And I just want to correct you on one thing, Uppity, because I know what you were trying to say, but when I corrected in the chat was because this is how certain people run with narratives and this is how they, say things. America does not have to give anybody who's not a citizen health care. Health coverage. What they do have to do is give them health care, and that's a different thing. So when you go into the hospital, you could go to the ER every day, which is going to put more debt in their state, and it's going to trickle down, to the federal and all of that. So when you go into the hospital, you can go in there every day in the ER. They have to see you, but they don't have to give you coverage. You can just rack up bills and never pay them or whatever the case may be, especially if you're a citizen. So that's all I wanted to correct you because I knew what you were trying to say, but it's a difference between health care and health coverage. Okay, so that's it. Propaganda, helpful. Anyway, I'm done because they roasted me in the chat.
What is HB's criticism? No, not you're done.
No, that was her too. She was getting off topic too because she was rebutting what MU was saying. MU was rebutting what she was saying, so they both were getting off topic. And I feel like HB, I've seen her go harder, but I felt like she didn't know how MU were reacting. And kind of when MU was getting, she said she
giving her a light.
Yeah, I feel like HB could have went harder, but she backed up. So HB.
MU want you to get that pressure. I'm not MU. You to Karen wants you to get that pressure. But Lex did say that it was basically general over talking. Lex is not disagreeing with you. Karen wants you.
Yeah.
No, HB was good. And I see what he's saying. That's what I said. Yeah, both of them were good, but MU was being kind of sensitive. I don't know because she invited her audience and she wasn't comfortable answering certain questions. But I do think that I would love to debate HB just on any topic. It could be politics. Even though we have the same narrative when it comes to politics. I more so deal with local politics than I do on a national level. So I agree with her in that aspect. But we could debate about anything. I'm pretty no two people are the same, and she doesn't have to bite her tongue with me. I could take it as much as I could give it,
But I also think MU, they both were like trying not to step on each other's toes, and and then that's kind of why I was getting lost too. It's like, no, go in. I don't care if she stumbled. I don't care.
Right.
Like go in on both of their ends because I've seen, but I think this is good practice for MU because MU said this is what she does, but she does it on her channel. The reason I know so many beliefs of MU is because she hits panels in the beef sector, but what she does is say a lot of times, well, I just want to tell you this, or don't argue, so I don't bring anybody up. And then once they come up, she may, go back and forth with her for a couple of seconds, then she drops down. So I think this is good practice for both of them because HB could have went in hard. I've seen her do.
Yes, HB gave a light. MU was giving it back, but MU could come harder. I think that if HB comes, she gave a light today. I think if HB responds harder, MU spiciness was already coming out today, which was good. I liked it
too. I've seen
MU. Yes, that's what. Yes,
before she dropped down. So both of them were, being polite.
They were being polite because it's their first time. They just met literally like an hour ago in my chat. I introduced them and came up with this idea. So I think when they by the second or third time that they do this sort of thing, I think that you will definitely see.
To my point of how I know MU's beliefs, but she never stands in the paint to rebuttal because you just said fuck them. You just said I'm so
exactly.
Right. Wait.
In the chat.
Wait a minute. Let's clear that up. That wasn't for you. No, somebody in my chat said something about not being able to ignore. I'm speaking directly
To
to
me,
my
it was
chat.
a drama. Oh, okay, because I was like,
MU was about to really let her light shine about the immigration thing. So she was really about to stand on
That
business,
wasn't
but she gets kind of nervous and go, yeah.
I was telling my chat to ignore because they don't know the dynamic. So that's why I was like, just let it go.
MU's chat is different, guys. Y'all know this.
Yeah.
MU's chat is different. They are not used to this aspect because the people that go in her chat, although you might see some beef sector folks, but with her focusing on political stuff, you have to be like, because remember, I'm in the clouds, like in the chat. If I say hi to MU while she's live on her, I usually am in the beginning and then I go in the clouds. Her chat is totally different. They're not used to this dynamic right here.
before about to go, you know, she.
And actually, this YouTube camera, being that you phrasing it like that, and I know you visit MU often. I go to MU once in a while when I can catch up, whatever, right? But normally, I don't really pay attention to political until like debate time because I want my Black people to wake up across the board. But anyway, do you think that MU has a crowd of white people that are used to the go along and get along with the government? So they don't want to hear this.
Asking me or you for cameras?
She's asking me. No,
Well,
I
I'm
don't. I
asking
think
both of
she
you
has a
ladies. Go
mix.
ahead.
I think she has a mix. When she does the vertical with that political stuff, oh my gosh, like that maybe I would say more than half of the people, let's say like 70%, 75% of them are that mind frame. But when she's like on her regular channel, sometimes Cloud is out there, whoever else is out there, they do push back. Uncle Cloud, I watched one of the ones that they were talking. I think I said hi, and then I went in the cloud. They were talking. Some of the things Uncle Claude agreed with her, some he didn't, and he pushed back. So no, her crowd is really like a mix of people of like her crowd that's not the vertical people. The vertical people are extreme. If you ever see her vertical, but that's typical of that crowd.
I've never seen her vertical, but I was asking in terms like a general crowd because you know when people like let's say for instance the Anton and Corey Holmes situation. Anton draws more Black people in his crowd that's geared to it's different type of Republicans. Like they just full throttle, like Black people need to pull up their bootstraps and do better type shit. So there are some Black people and white people that enjoy those type of Black people that give that commentary versus Black people that may have like, okay, I can see where my people went as a collective, as a fail, but we're not going to ignore all of these things that was put in place and still in place that's giving us these road bumps. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Cassie, for being here. Yeah, I think that her crowd is it wouldn't be the crowd of where like let's say you're in a predominantly Black place where you have a lot of like people that are overly like sensitive with what's going on within the culture and how it wouldn't be like that. It's more on the left aspect of it, but she does have people that will push back. They're not just like the go along to get along type of people that co-sign what she's saying, but her crowd definitely is used to like her sentiment, her views, like her political like the temperature basically. So you don't see a whole lot of whatever on there. I mean, will they agree with most of the stuff? I would say yes, but there are some that, well, I mean, like I gave you the example of Uncle Claude. Uncle Claude was like, oh no, I don't agree with this one. Nope, nope. And so you see them kind of, you see him push back. So but I think that is her general crowd when she goes live and she's not doing the mess. Right? Would you say so, MU? I mean, I might represent it
Yeah,
correct.
no, you're right. And again, these views of mine I had from the beginning, and the reason I started doing verticals was because I felt like I never could get my point across because you guys weren't coming to me for politics, right? So then I said, you know what, I have to push my streams out to YouTube, but to go out, I'm talking about things that the world is talking about, so it made more sense to do it on verticals. But my chat, you're gonna get some of them that show up because they agree with me, but you also get a lot that show up because they disagree with me, and I'll let it all ride all day.
Okay, I mean, because I've been on your platform before, but we were more discussing gender roles, and I think you agree with me on that. So I think we have a lot of alignment in that as far as gender roles is concerned. I think that's what I'm on your platform to discuss. But as far as politics, like I said, it depends on like what the subject is. I switch back and forth, as every American should, you know.
Usually I'll
Oh.
do those on horizontals because I do want to have. I love talking to you guys about stuff like that. Let's be for real. You guys really like the mess, so I can't. I have a platform where I can't really do that anymore, so I got to come to other spaces. But gender roles and stuff like that, I'll do it on horizontal. Why? Because I am interested. You have to say, Uppity, you brought a lot to those conversations. We spoke about colorism. We spoke about a lot of stuff, and I've done those on horizontals.
Well, I just came to say my piece. I'm gonna go
Sorry.
there.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Good
Oh, go ahead.
And I hope y'all don't take anything I said wrong. And hi, MU's chat. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Thank you, Lex. Thank you.
I was gonna say I agree with your criticism, Lex. But no, the reason why I can't watch anybody vertical because I like to play when I'm not on the panel. I like to play my game while I'm listening to y'all. So if I can't do that, I normally don't watch those type of live. So I don't watch anybody vertical live because they don't let me do play and play. But yeah, let me fix up play. It was a great conversation. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you, Absboo. Yes,
Bye-bye.
thank you, Absboo.
Bye, Lex.
Thank you as well, MU.
Thank you, YTC. Thank you for having me up. Lex, I appreciate the criticism because what I was going to say, though, is because I was saying in your chat earlier, YTC, I do want to get better at having like debates and political conversations. So this was good practice for me. And this will also help me when I do decide to bring it to my horizontal streams. Like I'll be able to organize my thoughts better and be able to present it. So I do appreciate this conversation. Thank you for having me up.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you, HB. Thank you, guys. And thank you to those that participated in the chat. I so appreciate you guys, HB. I'm glad I made the connection for both of you. Now, it's up to you guys if you want to do what we talked about. If y'all want to do it, we will take it over to Up's channel. And you guys can do the same. Like MU can co-stream or whatever. So I don't know what time frame you guys are thinking about. Listen, I was saying try to do it this week, but I don't know because, it has to be very structured. I think, this was a good temperature check. And I think doing it formally, we already said what, needs to happen. And we'll take some of the criticisms in hand. The panel will be locked when it's obviously for the formal one because we don't want anybody interrupting them. Now, I don't know if we do it at UPS, that means a moderator. I could be a moderator or anybody else can be a moderator. It's up to Uppity. It's up to you guys if you decide to have this. HB, I knew, this is why I knew, but just like I knew that this would be fun. For those of us that enjoy this kind of, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I get it. For those of us that enjoy this kind of conversation and this kind of live, I think that this was good. Okay, I think it was. I think that it was. It definitely needs structure. Mr. Corrado said, "Yep." Thank you to all the people from MU's chat that participated from UP's chat. Of course, YTC. Yes, and we can. You said come through. It would only be right. Yes. Okay. I think that this is a good starting point. Now, where's HB? Did HB stop typing? HB stop typing. Now, are y'all serious about having this again? For real, HB and MU? Like, what timeline are you looking at? Oh, Empress. Okay, Empress enjoyed the. Okay, you enjoyed the live. Yes, I like these kind of like, cause it's not always about the mess, guys. It's not always about the mess. Let me tell you, I was trying to do other stuff on this channel anyway. Like sometimes with the mess and all of that. Trust me, I've been doing lives on this. So I definitely have the watch time hours. It's not even about that. I just want to do something a little different. Reactions, political stuff, any type of there's a lot going on in our real world. Okay. And it doesn't necessarily have to be politics. It could be other real life topics or whatever. It doesn't have to be about Trump or who's in the White House or whatever, but there's a lot going on. So, child, her social battery is completely gone, YTC. She may have fallen asleep and we may not see her again all week. We may not see her again for another maybe 2 weeks. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, HB. I'm sorry, HB. Damn. But I do appreciate your time, knowing that you hardly ever like pop out like this. Thank you for popping out though. But I knew that this is like, right up your alley, and I just seized the opportunity. I like a good convo. I like girl talk. When we do the girl talk, I still have to do the celebrity talk. I was saying that I was gonna do it on this channel versus the other channel, because usually the people are over there for the mess. And once I start talking celebrity, they start to leave, which is fine. And so it just leaves the people that love. Listen, you'd be shocked at how many people love to talk about these other things. Okay? Because when they're writing in the comments, I'm like, oh, you really? I thought you were here for the mess. I didn't know you watch that show as well. Okay. So that's also good to see. All right. I'm going to get out of here because I have done two, and I'm so behind. Listen, I'm so behind. I did not catch any of the live. I got to go watch King Roman News live, the replay, because apparently whatever happened over there that caused Lady Nika to come live. Pizarro said that she's on strike. What the heck? Pizarro is on strike. Pizarro, get off strike. I don't know what happened at Passa's. Passa was live. What else happened all this time that I've been live? Okay, I don't know. I gotta go check that out. I gotta go figure out what the heck happened. You could even do a debate on what's going on at Celebrity Ooh, yes. Yes, you can take this so far, YTC. I'm gonna stare at you about this. Yes, please keep me in the right path, because sometimes I would just get tired. Okay, I could get tired, and I would just go into whatever, like the mess of it all, and the mess of it all is draining. Okay, while it's entertaining for a lot of you all, and sometimes myself, it definitely gets to be very draining. Okay, these kind of stuff, although it requires structure and time to come up with the questions. Like, remember all last year I did like the girl talk, right, where we did the girl talk. And then the year before, I feel like I did this damn, I forgot what I called the series. I did it. All of that is like, it's just like time consuming, because you have to structure it. You have to come up, if you're gonna, what are the bullet points of what you want to talk about? What if it's a debate or political stuff? I have to give them something. I have to like structure it somehow. So yeah, those take a little bit of time, and I kind of tend to like that. It's informal, and maybe initially it doesn't get the views. Who cares? It will be there for people to watch. If you go back to maybe 2 years ago, you'll see when I did the other series that I did, and then I just kind of stopped. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it in a different direction. And then last year I did the whatever it was that I called it. Okay, so then I introduced something else. Anyway, I hope you guys stay warm. If you're in a cold place, please stay warm. I gotta go find the candles. I do have candles. Somebody was talking about it, Aisha, when they were talking about it a few days ago. I know where they are, but you just never know, because I think it's finally stopped snowing, but there's no telling. I will go if you can squeeze in once a month, and I will definitely grow. If you have to skip a month, pick back up the next month. It's not as draining. Yeah, it's not as draining as the other one. Although you think that you just click live and come live, and I think I saw some notifications. Yeah, I'm very far behind, so I gotta go catch up, because tomorrow I gotta come live and on the other channel. Okay, thank you all. Good night. Stay warm. Thank you all. Thank you to all of you that participated. Watch the replay if you missed it. If you want to. I mean, if you like this stuff, come back and watch the replay. And you feel free to, you can review it if you want. Any of the people that participated, okay? I appreciate you guys. Alex, I went back to listen. I see what you're saying. I will work on that. Okay, see? We all have some areas that we'll work on. Thank you so much for the constructive criticism, Lex. Y'all have a good night, and I will see you guys in these YouTube streets, okay? See y'all later. Bye.